And good morning. Welcome back. Time for our Capitol Report with CapitolBeatOK.com's Pat McGuigan. Pat, this past week we had the Arizona and Michigan primaries, and of course we know Romney got a narrow victory in Michigan and more decisive victory in Arizona. Right. What is this? What is the impact for March 6th, and specifically for Oklahoma?
I think Romney is doing what he had to do. You know, sometimes the conventional wisdom is right. You've heard me say that. The conventional wisdom is he had to read very well in Michigan, and he did. He got delegates. Interestingly enough, he actually split the delegates even with Santorum because of Michigan's particular rules, and he swept in Arizona. So he did what he had to do. What effect does that have here? I think Romney's momentum is undeniable, but the SoonerPoll had an interesting poll that was more than just the exploration of the specific percentages for the individual candidates. A couple of weeks old now, but it's very interesting stuff. Here's what they found, is that you had 3 candidates with favorable perceptions, and that's despite all these months of campaigning and pounding each other quickly. Santorum, respected for integrity and honesty. That he understands common people. I understand that. You know, he resonates with blue-collar people, including blue-collar Democrats of the old Reagan coalition. Gingrich, respected for leadership and experience, and for ability to do, things that need to be done. That's the kind of things people were saying. Romney, the SoonerPoll echoes what the national polls are saying. Bottom line, people think, this is the guy that can beat Obama. And that may be as much of an explanation as his money and everything else for the reason that Romney is continuing to do well.
So Santorum has been leading in the polls here in Oklahoma. Does that hold?
It probably holds. It might be a little closer, but I'll tell you what, Santorum is working really hard. He's been working radio and doing some interviews over the phone. There's a rumor he might come back one time. I think the big surprise to me is that Ron Paul has faded so much. But those poll numbers from SoonerPoll had Santorum at 38.5, Romney at 23, Gingrich at 18, and he was leading in December. Yeah. And so there's a chance Gingrich might not even get delegates. But I think Romney and Santorum will, and that's what counts at the end of the day. That's what makes Super Tuesday so big. Total of, let's see here, 419 delegates scattered across 10 states, mostly primaries, but some caucus meetings next Tuesday, including Oklahoma. So I'd look for Santorum to win, Romney to do credibly. The question is, will Gingrich and Ron Paul even get delegates? And particularly Ron Paul surprises me that he may have faded that much. However, he had a big rally just several days back. So I may be underestimating and maybe influenced too much by the polls. We'll see. His people are passionate, so they'll probably turn out.
But the point is, though, Oklahoma is still firmly in the mix here, and people do need to turn out.
Absolutely. We talked about this all winter, and I'm not always right, but by golly, I'm going to remind everybody that I thought Oklahoma would still count, and we definitely do. Oklahoma is going to be a factor in the mix on primary day. I guess I'd mention real quickly that Gingrich looks like he's probably going to carry Georgia. Santorum has a good chance of carrying Ohio. Romney has a head-to-head with Ron Paul in Virginia. Virginia is delegate rich, and the handicapping is very much in Romney's favor there, but Ron Paul's been working the state. Yeah. So, wouldn't that be interesting to have a fourth guy pull off an upset somewhere? Stay tuned.
All right, let's talk about the Personhood Bill. This is Senate Bill 1433. It recently did clear the Senate. Talk about the controversy surrounding this legislation and what it means as it heads to the House.
I'd say that the odds are very good that it does prevail. There is an intensity to the opposition, and the opponents of the Personhood Bill, and supporters of choice, as people put it, have really made an impression. They had a rally that was small by pro-life standards, but impressive nonetheless on the north side of the Capitol. They filled up most of the plaza. And of course there were some controversial things that came out of that. But on the substance of the discussion and the debate, the opponents have worked very hard to slow down momentum for the Personhood Bill. However, the proponents of the statutory measure, including Tony Longer of Oklahomans for Life and the two sponsors, Lisa Billy and Senator Crane, had a press conference and passionately defended, hey, this is modeled on legislation out of Missouri, and that legislation has been upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court in the famous Webster decision in 1989. So they argue that a lot of the horror stories that are projected are inaccurate. There are guys like Dr. Eli Reshef, a very serious man, a very credible man, who's passionately fighting this. So you have a conflict of fundamental visions. And frankly, for a pro-life state like Oklahoma, it shows how deeply divided we are on certain core moral questions.
Real quickly, where do you see this thing ending up?
I think it will prevail, and I think it'll be signed by the governor.
You think it'll be signed, though? But
I do think it'll be signed by the governor, but I could be wrong. I mean, this is it's a tougher issue than most of the pro-life questions have been, and it's got some subsets that are making people uneasy.
All right, Pat, thanks. And for more on these and other topics, go to CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day.